The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis & Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis & Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
All right, good evening, everybody. You all set? Oh, I forgot to ask. All right. Welcome to the Town of Queensberry Town Board meeting. It is April 20th, 2020, and the time is 7:15 p.m. We're a little bit late tonight because we wanted to live stream this through the Town of Queensberry YouTube, as we had before, but we're having some technical difficulties. And maybe we'll kick on a little bit later, but not at this time. So while we're waiting, if you would all please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Okay, thank you. We have one Board of Health item, which means that we have to enter it to the Board of Health. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer, seconded our Councilperson Ferone, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. We're now into the Board of Health. Rose, we have one item. Would you please read that to the public?
Public hearing on a sewage disposal variance application of William Smith.
All right, so we have a public hearing on this. This is a application for sanitary sewage disposal variance. The owner of the property is William Smith. The location of the property is 13 Chestnut Road. It's on Glen Lake. The agent for the applicant is Dennis McElroy of Environmental Design Partnership. He'll introduce himself in a minute. This is a system on a very small lot. However, it does include the use of a pre-treatment Claris Fusion 450, a pump system, an ultraviolet system, going up to a open bottom with gravelless chambers, which are traffic rated at H20. The applicant is asking for 7 variances, and they are as follows. 1, absorption field to be 1 foot from the west property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 2, absorption field to be 1 foot from the north property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. 3, absorption field to be 65 feet from the west neighboring well line instead of the required 100-foot setback. 4, absorption field to be 94 foot from the south neighboring well instead of the required 100-foot setback. 5, absorption field to be 56 feet from the on-site well line instead of the required 100-foot setback. 6, treatment tank to be 7 foot from the dwelling instead of the required 10-foot setback. And 7, the treatment tank to be 36 feet from the on-site well instead of the required 50-foot setback. So, Mr. McElroy, if you wish to take it from here and elaborate, that'd be good.
Thank you, John. I'm Dennis McElroy with Environmental Design Partnership, representing the owners and applicants for this project, Bill and Michelle Smith, and they're in the audience here tonight. You've explained it very well, John. This is a proposed replacement wastewater system for the existing residence, which transferred in October. So the deposit was placed for to bypass or get a waiver from the inspection process, because it was known upon sale that the system that existed wouldn't pass an inspection. We went right to the design of a new system. So that system includes the enhanced treatment unit, the Claris 450. It includes a UV disinfection system, so as that treated effluent passes on to the pump tank, it passes through a UV light, which will disinfect it, further treating it from pathogens and whatnot that are typical in the wastewater. The effluent pump will pump it up to a dispersal field located under the parking areas. Usually we don't place systems under parking locations. On occasion we do, with the lack of space and the use of these particular gravelless chambers. They are structurally sound to be able to withstand any weight of parking and whatnot, so they're the H20 loading. That's where they achieve that qualification, so that's suitable for that type of use. I'll clarify something I said this afternoon when we did our site visit about the oxygen transfer. John, you asked that question. If you look at that detail on sheet 4, it shows the hood. Basically, it's a half a pipe, 34 inches wide. Well, there is oxygen there. There's plenty of oxygen within that hood, because that's an open void. So that's where we satisfy that treatment requirement, or that treatment capability, is that oxygen is within there. So we're not necessarily transferring from atmosphere. So just to clarify that point.
Yeah, but to your point, there is an element of trans evaporation to these systems, but not so much here.
Correct. Okay, so now the placement of these components have required a number of variances, which you have described. The property line variances are because the parking lot, the parking area where the field will be under is close to the property lines. The treatment tank is placed a little closer to the dwelling than the standard, but that keeps it 10 feet from the property line. So there were a couple give and takes there. The treatment tank is 36 feet from the owner's own well, which is on the other side of the foundation anyway, so not a big deal. Probably the two more significant variances are the separation to the neighboring wells. Deneen's across the road, up gradient well is 65 feet away, and Babcock property to the south, that's 94 feet away. So the mitigation to those is this enhanced treatment of the Claris fusion and the UV disinfection. So with those components as part of the system, we feel it's appropriate, an appropriate design, but nonetheless need to have the variances to move forward.
Any question of the agent of the applicant before I open the public hearing?
No.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Are we on live yet, Peter?
Sorry.
All right, so I can't do the call then. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak to this application before us tonight? All right, there are members of the audience, just 3. And there's nobody that wishes to speak to this, so any further questions?
So John, just to try to move this along, I sent out a text that if there's anybody that wanted to, or chat, if anybody wanted to make a comment on this variance, to let me know. Tim McNulty just chatted back saying, thanks for letting us know about the technical difficulties. So we do have some communication with people that are, and there's now 5 people on trying to wire in.
Okay. All right, well, having no interest from the public to speak to this matter, I'll close the public hearing.
Supervisor Stroh, I do have a letter, correspondence regarding
Oh,
this.
okay.
I'll read that into the record. It's regarding the sewage variance at Chestnut Ridge Road. It says, my wife and I live at 19 Chestnut Road, and we would like to express our opinion regarding the above noted property. We believe that the installation of a new and proper sewage disposal system on their property is appropriate and in keeping with desire to maintain the quality of Glen Lake. Therefore, their proposal should be approved with all necessary variances due to the limited size of the property. Sincerely, William and Terry Mansman.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I'll close the public hearing and I'll entertain a motion. Motion to approve, a motion to approve, put forward by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Ferone. Roll call vote on this.
I apologize for interrupting. Question from council.
Yes, Council, Mark Shackner. Go ahead, Mark.
Before you vote, do we have any reason to believe that any members of the public might have concerns that they were intending to call in had the live streaming worked, or do we have some confidence that there are no such members of the public?
I don't know. Could you text them and say?
I did. Did you get my text, Mark?
Did you get?
No, but I also didn't look. You were able to identify, Harrison, those who were seeking to join, and you were able to text them?
A live chat, yes. I'm doing a live chat. I sent a note at 7:11 that we were having technical difficulties. At 7:18, I sent a note saying, beginning the meeting without YouTube. If you want to speak to the sewer variance, please let us know via chat. Thanks. And I got a reply back from Tim McNulty at 7:20 saying, thanks for letting us know about the technical difficulties. There were 7 people trying to log in, and there's now 5 according to my phone.
All right, and you were able to send that to those trying?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. That covers my concern. Thank you, Harrison.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark. Roll call vote, please, Rose.
Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
Ferone,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
and Medevere.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Dennis, for cleaning up afterwards.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So much.
All right. Okay. Let's vote. All right. Next is we have 12 resolutions before us. I will describe each of those resolutions and then give members of the public an opportunity to speak to any of the 12 resolutions. However, we're not live, and the members of the audience that were here just left.
So what's the number, John, if people want to call in and I'll...
You should put that out there.
It is 761-8225.
Okay. And we'll accept call-ins anytime between now while you go through it, right? Or should I wait until you're done?
why don't you wait till I'm done and then we'll wait for them,
Okay.
okay? All right, so resolution 3.1, Rose.
Resolution authorizing reappointment of Donna Partridge as member of Cemetery Commission.
All right, again, Donna Partridge is probably the longest standing member on the Cemetery Commission, and we're very pleased to have her. She's very good. She's probably the most knowledgeable person on the Cemetery Commission, and very pleased that she's wishing to continue her term. So this is approving that. 3.2.
Resolution approving year 2019 Service Award Program records for Queensberry Volunteer Fire Companies.
All right, there has been a review. Did you all hopefully got a chance to review that? Of the firemen, we have 5 fire companies, and they have to earn at least 50 points to be eligible for a year of recognition for the length of service award program, which is kind of like a retirement program. It's also known as LOSAP. You have to get 50 points or more. It is not easy to get to 50 points. And you can't do just one thing and get the 50 points. You have to do a variety of things that firemen have to do. Help maintain the vehicles, the building, the equipment. You have to do a lot of training. You do have to go out on runs. You do have to do some medical training. There's a lot you need to do to get the points, even to get to 50. We in Queensbury are very fortunate to have so many volunteer fire people. These are first responders. These are the people on, when there's an emergency, they're there when you need them. We're very thankful that we have these great volunteers in our town of Queensbury. Because of their volunteerism, it saves a lot of tax money. But you get these very dedicated volunteers, and God bless them. They're, they're first rate and deserve all the recognition we can give them, especially these days when, you're putting yourself at risk for, diseases. COVID's one of them, but, everything else that's out there, because you're a first responder, you're the first to help out that person. And so the least we can do is give them a retirement program, and we're talking about increasing the amount. We started that discussion and then COVID hit. We'll get back to it. But this is approving the records of who has earned 50 or more points and is entitled to 1 year recognition for the length of service award program. 3.3.
Resolution authorizing refurbishment of pump number 1 at Meadowbrook Road Pump Station from Doty Machine Works.
All right, we need to refurbish pump number 1 at Meadowbrook Road Pump Station. We've gotten quotes. The lowest quote was from Doty Machine Works, dated 13th of April, 2020. In the amount of $9,070 for basic repairs, plus an additional budgetary cost of $6,000 for unforeseen repairs, and that's only potential. That doesn't mean they're going to spend it. It's just there if we have to have it, for a total cost of not to exceed $15,070. 3.4.
Resolution authorizing engagement of Chief Pete's Lawn Care to mow certain abandoned or neglected properties in the town of Queensberry.
All right, raking up the leaves, mowing the lawn, things that are not done by the banks. We do this for these delinquent properties, and we add this cost to their taxes. So we have 5 properties that need this kind of attention right now: 7 Quarry Crossing, 43 Lambert Drive, 35 Fox Hollow Drive, 24 Pinello Road, and 3 Wagon Trail Road. Yes, and for a total of $295 per month per property, for an amount not to exceed $1,475. 3.5.
Resolution authorizing engagement of Chief Pete's Lawn Care for one-time cleanup of abandoned or neglected properties.
All right, I did a site visit to 35 Fox Hollow Drive and 43 Lambert. They're both deserving of extra attention. They are both mess with limbs and vines and everything else. So this is an extra $325 per residence to Cheap Pete to do the extra work that these properties need to do for a total of $650. 3.6.
Resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $1,700,000 in serial bonds of the town of Queensberry to pay the cost of acquisition, construction, and installation of water district improvements along Ridge Road, and authorizing the issuance of up to $1,700,000 in bond anticipation notes of the town of Queensberry for the same purpose.
All right, this is not necessarily, are we going to go out and borrow this? This is the town board's authorization to do so, should they need to do so. We are applying for grant money. And so, but this is just so we have our ducks in a row. If we need it, we can go out and get a bond issuance of $1.7 million. 3.7.
Resolution approving memorandum of agreement between the town of Queensberry and town of Queensberry Unit of Civil Service Employees Association, Inc., CSEA.
Okay, this is an effort of about 9 months worth of work of going back and forth. I think that the going back and forth, the tug and pull, ended up with a decent contract. It's not something that makes everybody happy, but I think it's fair for the most part. Other than some wording changes, we're offering, it's a 4-year contract. We're offering 3% for this year, 2.5% the following 3 years on this 4-year contract. In the meantime, we get biweekly pay. So we save about $26,000 a year going to biweekly pay. The CSEA union approved this. There's other little carekeeping kind of things that go into the thing, but that's the big part of it. So if this MOU gets approved by the town, then we go ahead with this. All right, 3.8.
Resolution ratifying adoption of revised town of Queensberry COVID-19 pandemic response plan.
Between town board meetings, we work at updating what we're doing in this town to make sure that we're in line with all federal, state, and local standards to deal with the COVID virus. I think we're being very successful at doing that. We've been very responsible at doing this. And we want to continue doing this. This is our plan. It's 24 pages now. Keeps going. 3.9.
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of April 20th, 2020.
All right, with a total amount of $480,999.07. 310.
Resolution to amend 2020 budget.
All right, this is crematory services. We're starting to get bodies from New York City area. They have exceeded their capacity, so we are taking some of them up here. And this is monies to shift around so that we can deal with that. We will gain revenues from this, and it should offset what we're allocating for this. And we're charging them the same as we always charge, no increase in prices, even though we may have to go to a second shift to keep up with the work. 311.
Resolution authorizing 3-year renewal of animal control services agreement between the town of Queensberry and SPCA of Upstate New York.
All right. We've been pretty happy with SPCA of Upstate New York. It's a dog control, it's not easy. When I first came on, what was it? I don't know. Town supervisor was 7 years ago, 6 going on 7. The town supervisor was in charge of dog control. So I have a more than intimate knowledge on what's involved here. It's extremely difficult job, as you can well imagine. And so we put this out to bid, and SPCA offered a price that was about a third of the price of the next closest bidder. we're offering to give them some increases for this year, increase of 1,500 for a total of 76,500. And I thought that we should make this a 3-year agreement, so we've offered to give about a 2% increase thereafter. That is a 2% increase. All right, so hopefully this 3-year contract will pass. 3.12.
Resolution setting public hearing on emergency ambulance service agreements.
All right, because of the increased cost of dealing with COVID, our EMS squads, some is paired service, but a lot of it's volunteerism, and what wouldn't be happening wasn't volunteerism, but medical supplies, as you know, has gone up tremendously. We were still on the 2019 contract, and the reason why we were waiting and we didn't have a 2020 contract is we're doing an EMS study. Well, that EMS study is not complete yet. It should be complete by next month, May. And then we're going to have public meetings on it. We're going to have discussions with the EMS people. I think a lot of good things should come out of that, but they won't be implemented until 2021. So in the meantime, rather than hold on to a 2019 carryover contract when our EMS squads, again, wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for the volunteerism, then they needed more money. So I offered them a 2% increase for this year, 1-year contract, finish out the rest of the 2020, and they agreed to that. Reluctantly, but they agreed to it. So those are the 12 resolutions before the town board. And normally, are there any members of the public that, hey Dan.
So I did send that note out, John, when you got to resolution 3-11, and the only comment chat back I got was from Kathleen Moore wanting to know if we were able to record, and I told her that it would be recorded on Look TV.
Yeah.
So if anybody, you might want to wait a few minutes to see if somebody wants to call in on that phone line.
All right, we'll wait a few
I didn't
minutes.
see your note with the phone number, though.
Okay.
All right. Well, in the future, folks, since you're watching this on Look TV,
This is
the
747.
call-in number is area code 518
Everything else came through.
761
See Kathleen's note, I see your response to
8225.
her.
761
Okay, I'll send it again.
8225. I got the phone here. Got a microphone here. Town attorney here. Usually I'm
So-
watching the show live on YouTube.
I got everything but that one.
You didn't get, you got McNulty's?
Yep.
Did he have a question?
No, he just was thanking us for telling him.
Oh,
Let me send it again, we can chat some more.
okay. We can watch the Memorial Day Parade. Might be the only thing this year. I haven't canceled it yet, but I don't think things are still gonna be healthy even at the end of May. You know, it's an important day to memorialize. But what
Just-
can you do?
It might be just on the cusp of maybe things getting back to a little bit.
Well, that's why I haven't called it yet. But again, we have the high school participation with the essay contest and the poster contest, and with the, you know, the band playing at the remembrance ceremony. And I mean, I could still put together something. We could still have a parade. But it just doesn't look good at this point in time.
See something?
No, sir. Don't know why.
I don't know.
I know you were trying to get that number out there.
In case you're wondering, we're waiting for call-ins. We're not on the Town of Queensbury YouTube Live. Harrison Freer, Councilman Freer, is doing a chat with interested parties. There were 7. I believe it's now 5 are the only interested parties so far. But if they have questions on any of the resolutions, Harrison gave them the phone number, and we're waiting. This is not the usual. This is unusual. The unusual is what's become the usual today.
So the good news is we did hear from 2 of the 4 people. There's now only 4 people, but I'm assuming that Kathleen and Tim were 2 of the 7 original 5. I think 2 of us are of the 7. So with George and I waiting. Anyway,
George, did you capture anybody?
Well, I'm going to see if I can get this number out. I don't know why Harrison's tried a number of times here in the call, and number is 518. What is it, Harrison?
761
761
8225.
8225. Knowing Kathleen, she might call it.
Yeah. No. I don't know what else to say. Okay.
Are we still running, Joel? So
It's true.
while we're
If me and
waiting,
you were on it, it's
give me an
Kathleen, it's
opportunity
one other
to
person, that's it.
thank the town employees for all their help and cooperation in setting up our COVID-19 response plan. They've all had great input, and we're all there cooperating and participating. And I know we've heard the term 100 times, but it really applies here. That the town employees, department manager, everybody, town board here, have been working together on this with one mind, and that's to try and keep everyone healthy and to keep the public healthy. And at the same time, provide the services. I've gotten a lot of phone calls about the street cleaning and the street pickup. We worked out a COVID response plan that we were able to activate that as of Monday. So as long as I see everyone being responsible, and I get reports. I heard a little bit about the transfer station this weekend, and that has been remedied. So, you know, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do, give me a call, give any one of us a call, and we will make sure it gets remedied. All right, well, I think we've given enough time for anybody that wants to call in.
Somebody wants to-
All right. Okay, well, let's move on. Any of those resolutions, then, does a town board member want them pulled for an individual roll call? Any amending of any of the resolutions you would like to suggest?
No,
Nope.
All right,
one error on the contract was fixed. I think.
yeah, that was fixed, and thank you for bringing that to our attention, George. I just, assumed that it was all hunky-dory, and you checked it out, and very good. Harrison, I know you and Tony pay attention too, and I appreciate all the input. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of work goes into these resolutions on everyone's behalf. Town board, you know, back and forth, I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, we try and amend it. And almost all the time it makes it a better product. You know, you have multiple minds always are better than just one. So appreciate that. All right, having said that, put a motion forward approving resolutions 1 through 12.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on resolutions 1 through 12, please.
Councilperson Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
and Ferraro.
Yes.
Okay. Any correspondence, Rose?
No correspondence.
Privilege of the floor. All right, so now, Harrison, if anybody wants to speak about a town matter,
They should have called in by now, because I didn't give them a deadline. I just said call in.
oh, okay. All right, well, let's do town board discussions. If somebody calls in, we'll deal with it. In the meantime, George, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I know you mentioned them earlier, but I just wanted to thank the highway department for being out there for brush pickup. I think that was one in particular a lot of people were calling about and asking about, even though I think we're a little early this year, I mean, with the good spring weather we've been having. But thank you to them for getting out there and doing that, and for all the town employees that are working during this period. You know, it's difficult. Also wanted to thank you for the resolution on cleaning up 35 Fox Hollow and 43 Lambert. I know those were folks who contacted me, and they're in Ward 3, and they will appreciate that being done. That those properties, unfortunately, are a blight in a couple of very nice neighborhoods there. So,
Yes. And, you know, you got 35 Fox Hollow. Why did that, you know, these houses, both of them are nice houses. And you think if they were let out to the market, somebody would jump on it if they were
Right.
fairly priced.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have this to worry about.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the process?
Well, when somebody dies, John, you
That's
know,
what it is.
We saw, we saw it next door to us on Garrison. It took them 2 years to get through probate and family matters, and I think that's what.
But in the meantime, can't the family agree to
Yeah,
have
they
somebody
should. Yeah, I mean,
But
obviously.
they
clean
don't.
up the house, keep up the house?
yeah, that's the exact issue at Lambert. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, for the common good. People in the neighborhood want it.
Yeah, I'm glad the town does that. I think it's appreciated.
Yeah, and Chief Pete does a nice job.
Nice job. Yep.
We shouldn't announce Chief Pete because his prices are reasonable and he'll get so busy he won't be able to do our
More
work.
work. Free advertising.
Anything else, George?
No, that's it. Thank
No,
you.
thank you very much. Harrison?
So it's nice to see the golf courses and marinas open. I would just urge everybody to follow social distancing. If not, wear a mask. And whenever you're out, grocery stores, don't walk up to people if you don't have a mask on. You know, stay your distance. And you know, we all have to figure out what's tomorrow we're going to bring. But right now, if you're going to violate the 6-foot social distance thing, which none of us are doing that sitting down, but some of us wore our masks in, then you need to have a mask on. I'm hoping that Sprinkles or Martha gets figured out how to do drive out soon, because we've been walking by there going, I wish it was open. I did get a follow up on some broadband questions, so I appreciate that. I think we need to continue to try to find ways to provide broadband to our town, and there are gaps that I'm still spinning up on. But and then finally, Barb Tierney told me that she's been trying to get biweekly pay for 12 years, and I've only been on the job 3.5 months, and I'm taking credit for it.
I don't think
Is that it, Harrison? Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
I don't really have anything to add. I actually, it's funny, posted something online last night when I saw that they were opening up marinas and golf courses. I was very excited about it. I can't think of two other recreational activities where there could be potentially more social distancing, but I tell you, I took a lot of heat for it, and I cannot figure out why. And I've been working on boats for the better part of 35 years, and worked at marinas, put myself through college with them, and you can do this very smartly.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I think we need to do.
Yeah.
Or else we're gonna get ourselves back in this ditch.
Yeah.
Right? We don't wanna be in this ditch.
No, you don't.
And they don't just say it, they give specific guidelines. I know I read a lot of them on the golfing part, and, they all make sense.
They do make sense.
Yeah.
You can do this. Now, I had to run the lows for a few projects. For the most part, I think everybody was very well behaved. You do get yourself in certainly some awkward situations with people that check out and try and get through, but for the most part, people seem to get it. I think that we're all getting it, and was happy to see we have no more cases today, which is, a bonus. So we'll see what another month brings.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
But that's really it. You got that?
So John hasn't gone anywhere, right? He's not allowed to go anywhere. Over to you.
Yeah. Well, talking about masks, Harrison was one of the first to start wearing his full time, and we all are now. But I like the ones with the ear loop, okay? I mean, I've got different kinds. My wife made me one, and she knows I'm a real Adirondack guy, so she made one with fish lures. The only bad side of that is it's got a fish lure, and it looks like I'm the fish going after it. So I said, well, why couldn't you do me Buffalo Bill's one? She said, I couldn't find Buffalo Bill's claw. Anyhow, so we got a hold of some of these thanks to the county, and so, we got the blue side and you have a white side. We've been dividing what is supposed to be the outside. Does it make a difference? Blue, white? And it, fits good. George told me how to fit it right, and that worked a lot better. But, we do use these whenever we look like the 6 foot distance will be violated. So I think the town board's been very good about that. Moving on to a few other things. Bob Lace sent me his book, Lake George, New York, A View from the Top. I've started to read it. But more importantly, he signed it on the inside to me. John, thank you for your support of Lake George and your friendship all these years. Mayor Bob Blaze, signed April 9th, 2020. He's probably New York's longest termed mayor. And why? Because he's such a great human being. He's such a genuinely nice person. And he's smart. And he knows what's best for the area, Lake George especially. So I want to thank him for that. Also, Park and Rec, you'll notice new signage. We have the COVID signage. If you're using the trails, how to use the trails responsibly. But we also have another new sign at the Rush Pond Trail, the parking area on the corner of West Mountain Road and Gurney Lane. And our workers have their masks on. I don't know, Joel, if you can get a close-up of this so that the public can see it a little bit better. And our workers have their masks on. Very good. Park and Rec. That's the new sign. Our old sign was taken out by a car that drove through there, took that sign out, drove across the parking lot, took the guardrails out. I mean, he went for 100 feet and wiped out everything. All right, moving on. Tony, it wasn't easy. Here we had a request from Dundas Bay for 3 new speed buoys. You think that'd be easy enough? By the time you get through the DEC and with the help of the Lake George Park Commission personnel from Get Me There And DEC was very helpful, but they also have a new policy where if you want buoys, you buy the buoys. All right, buying buoys isn't something you do every day. So now I have to find what buoys, and they had certain specs about the buoys. So I found the company that bought the buoys. The buoys are coming in about a week, Tony.
So they threw it.
These are the ones that DEC wants. Yes. And they'll put them up. We just had to buy the buoys, and I got the stainless steel chain. So I went a little extra. But just your constituents want to know, we're there. And DEC will put them in for us. So as soon as they're in, we'll get them to DEC. The new speed buoys will be up. All right, our EMS contracts, I already talked about that. Also, the census, the 2020 census, Queensberry is doing great. Over half of Queensberry has reported to the census. We're way above everybody else.
Nothing else to do.
Well, you know, you got Bolton, only 11% have done it. Glens Falls is doing pretty good, 47.5%, but we're ahead of the pack. Keep it up, Queensberry citizens. If you haven't done it yet, just type in census, go to the website. If it takes you 10 minutes to do it, I'd be surprised. It's very easy, very simple questions. Please do it.
I think that goes to Harrison's earlier discussion and concern about being able to get on the internet. I think we're lucky in Queensbury, most people have internet access. I think you get out of here and get north of the county, probably a lot of places up there don't. So right now you could do it online. It's the only way you can.
And the library's closed, right? I mean, the people who
yeah,
don't have
very
internet make their way to the library, and so that's a double whammy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could probably give out the public password and they could go to the parking area and maybe jazz up here. I don't know.
Well, I think the county was working on that.
Yeah.
Spots where people could drive up and grab Wi-Fi.
Well, there's one, I think
Let's get our town board running a little bit better, and then we'll work on that.
all right, okay, we'll wait then. All right, talking about pickup. Yes, the town is starting to pick up. We'll start with Ward 3, then go to 4, then 2, and then 1, and then we'll go back around again. So most of you are pretty ready. Readier than I've ever seen before. The one thing I'm noticing, though, that the public needs to keep aware of, some of you have your grass clippings in a pile. We're not going to pick them up. They have to be bagged, and you have to use recyclable paper bags. All the hardware stores and Lowe's and Depot and all those, they sell them. All right, so they have to be biodegradable paper bag. You can't use plastic or anything else. It has to be these special bags. Put your yard waste into those bags. Yeah, we will do some of the branches and things. Anything over 4 inches, we're going to leave behind. But, you know, we're going to be picking that up. We're back. We're cleaning up the parking area. And I have one last thing. I got to give a lot of credit to the Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. These people do a whole lot. No one's ever heard of them other than us. We deal with them. But I mean, the public doesn't know about Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. But if you notice the new culverts in the cemetery, they were responsible for that. You notice the new ditching, they were responsible for that. You notice the new garden, which is meant to promote pollination, pollinators. They were responsible for that. That's all in Pineview Cemetery. But they're helping me with the permit for the bridge for the Halfway Brook Trail. They do water sampling quality. You know, in the cemetery in Glens Falls, they put in a permeable road for the city. But it goes on and on. Erosion and sediment control programs. They also have agriculture and academics. They work with the farmers. They do a lot of very, very good things. If you go up to Gurney Lane Park, the floating wetland, that was Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. And if you haven't been up there to see the floating wetland, you probably should. So thank you for all you do, Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. All right, well, those are my announcements. Anything else?
What about your kayaking, checking out Glen Lake? You're not going to talk about that?
Oh, what's interesting is I do Glen Lake all the time. Sunday mornings, you can find me on Glen Lake. I'm kayaking. I have 4 kayaks. Each one has a different character and personality. This one, I took my big, wide body, built like a tank kayak because I was going into the fen and Jim Underwood said, be careful, there's a beaver dam there. Well, in the fen, there's always 1 or 2 beaver dams, but I've never seen one in front of the fen. Right by the bridge, as you enter the fen, it's the outflow of the fen. You have 2 bridges there. The first one, there's a beaver flow across there. And so what I had to do was, somebody tough like Jim Underwood, he could probably haul his canoe over the dam. Well, I picked up my canoe, walked it to the other side of the road, and then put it into the fen on that side because the beaver dam's there. I've never seen a beaver dam there. But anyhow, once you got to the other side, it was just absolutely gorgeous. I love that fen, especially this time of the year when the water's high and you can negotiate all the way up to Route 9 and the Great Escape. You can go all over the place. So, yeah, that's my zen. Sunday mornings is out in the kayak. And I also kayaked a Little Rush Pond on Saturday. I have a wood duck house that Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District helped me with, but I caretake it. And that means that you have to clean it out. I put new shavings in every year. So you have to go and clean the house out, put new shavings in, and then the wood ducks will use it. But if you don't clean it, they won't use it. So I saw about 4 of them in the Glen Lake fen, and I put out a Facebook thing wondering if anybody cleans those. I hope they do. If they don't, I got plenty of shavings left over and I'll clean it, but I didn't want to clean it if somebody's already doing it because they need to be cleaned out. And you can't wait too long because they'll be having their babies pretty soon. There was nobody using mine over a rush pond yet, so I think we're okay by cleaning them now, but they need to be cleaned down. All right. So anyway, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All right, I'd like to thank Town Council Mark Shatner. You still there?
I am. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, well, thank you. And thank you, Deputy Town Clerk Rose Mellon. Thank you, Joe Barlow of Look TV. Thank you, Peter Pape of Pape Productions. We had a little technical glitch. Hopefully wiring that out. I don't know. But thanks to the town board for all you do for the town. We really appreciate that. And so I'll take a motion to adjourn. I think Councilperson Freer put one forward. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Ferone. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We're adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan are one of New York's largest independently owned insurance agencies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.